Coach, I've known you so long, and you've coached me, as you mentioned. I like that East Coast strong. You've coached me, and I've watched and admired your career from afar. And I know two things are certain: that when the kids play hard for you, and they seem to keep having their career years every year they play for you, they seem to have their best years. And we could go on and on about that. I have multiple instances of that. But maybe as a message to some of the young defensive coordinators out there, how do you bring them, how would you bring your group together? How do you bring that group together? I know you mentioned a lot of things already, touched base on some of those things, but how do you bring a group together?
Oh, that's a toughie. Well, I think, yeah, the hard part about it, coach, is that they're all different, right? So you have to find some commonality where they can, and it's not just saying, yeah, we're part of the team, it's deeper than that. So it's about creating, cliche stuff like the band of brothers, right? So how do you do that? Well, you certainly encouragement's a big part of it. Acknowledgments a big part of it, and then being realistic. You know, being realistic and being honest. You know, it's funny you put those words together. I remember, I should send me a copy of this. I should remember that. But encourage, acknowledge, be realistic, and be honest. And they don't want to get. I've always seen that the players don't want to get stroked all the time. You know what I mean? You gotta, if you're constant, it's like, you know, you got to remember sometimes you're raising somebody else's kids, right? They're involved in different things, right? Like there's all kinds of things, so they have to understand, you have to understand that they're all different. They're all different and the personalities are different. And you got to be, you got to be aware of that, but you have to understand that they need to understand that it's a privilege, not a right to play. And to be involved with something that is so fleeting and can end at any game, any practice, or eligibility. I remember sometimes when I was a young recruiter and I was a head coach, I think it was at Waterloo or whatever, I'd say, you'd have 3 or 4 recruits in front of you, and you'd say, how many guys dream about playing at the next level, and they all raise their hands. One's 5'8" and one's 6'2", and the 5'8" guy's got no chance, but he could be a great college player. But you get through all the recruiting stuff, and then you say, I always ended it with raise your right hand. So they'd raise their right hands. I go, snap your fingers, and they'd snap their fingers, and I go, you know what that is? I go, what is that? And I go, that's your career. That's how fast it goes by. And they look at you and they go, I haven't even decided to come to this school yet, and I still got 5 years of eligibility, and what are you talking about? And then some of those recruits come to your school, and then they walk in your office 5 years later and they go, Coach, you're right. You're right. That's how fast it went by. And so it's a privilege, not a right. That's how you get them. You get them to buy into the band of brothers, right? That it's a privilege, not a right. You gotta acknowledge, encourage, be realistic, and be honest. And they have to know you care about them. But you can't spend too much time on a kid that doesn't deserve to be cared about. You know what I mean? It's like, it's fit in or you got to go. And it's a hard life. It's a paramilitary organization, right? That's what it is. Let's call it for what it really is, right? You train to attack, you train to defend, you train physically to be able to absorb pain, you train physically to be able to deal pain. And it's a hard life, but that's what makes it so special, right? Football to me is the greatest game, and I played them all, but I think football is the greatest game because when your rear end's tucked up against the goalpost and it's 3rd and 1 and the game's on the line and nobody cares what religion you are, or how long your hair is, or what color your skin is, or what your political beliefs are, you have to be united. You have to be united, and you have to understand what your assignments are, because it's sellout time, and there's no chance for diagnosis. There's your assignment, get it done and do it fast, as you can possibly get it done. And football is the only game that really does that. You know, that really puts 12 guys side by side as a unit. You know, and you picture those kids standing on the goal line, and the other team's a yard away from winning, and you're a yard away from defeat, and you can't make a mistake. And I can't worry about what Gary Waterman's doing. I got to worry about what I got to do. I got to trust Gary enough that he'll, you know, where I go, Gary, you okay? And you go, don't wait for me. I'll be fine. You know, and you know that's the speciality of this game, man. I mean, it's like, it's paramount. I mean, it's just like, it's, you know, I hate to use the battle terms because there's so many wars going on, but you coaches break down film. They come up with game plans, which is a battle plan. You know, they come up, you teach your kids to lift like crazy in the off season and run hills and stuff, and they're in the best shape of their life, and you're telling them to, you know, play through pain. And are you injured, or are you you know, are you hurt or are you injured? There's a difference, and you have to understand the difference. And we're better with you than better without you. And, you know, and get the kids, it's goes like that, but it teaches things, you know, intestinal fortitude. It teaches kids things that they didn't know they were capable of. That's the big thing. And you know, it's a waste of time, you know, going through all this stuff if a kid's not going to stay eligible. It's a waste of time, because he's cheating the staff, he's cheating the school, he's cheating the kid behind him, and biggest of all, he's cheating himself. That's the way I see it.